Sup nerds, I'm Aaron.
I'm Tom.
Today we're taking a look at Karuba, the card game.
Oh,
you thought it was that one, but it's this.
That just blew your mind. Karuba, the card game, takes about 10% as long to play as the regular base game Karuba.
But I think it kind of almost packs the same amount of punch as the full game of Karuba in that short amount of time. So you're still trying to solve that puzzle of, can I get this adventurer to his temple to score points? But now it comes with a little bit of a card play aspect of, you want to play the highest cards you can from your hand.
But those cards, like the higher cards are the temples and the adventurers, so you don't want to play them too early if you don't have a good path laid out for them, right?
Exactly. But if you have played the lowest set of cards in the round, you have to discard one of them, and you only get to play one of your cards. So it's a very different game. It's not we're not all playing the same cards or tiles at the same time. We all have the same 16 cards. We're only gonna have 3 in our hand. We're choosing 2 of them, and then possibly discarding one of them. So it still has that same amount of like strategy of like, oh goodness, can I actually make it? But now you don't have to worry about burning cards for movement. As long as you can draw a line at the end of the round to get to your adventurer to the temple, then you're gonna get the points. There's a nice little reference that everybody can look at. There was kind of that problem if you were like the caller in the main Karuba. If you're the one picking up the number and going, okay, we're playing number 32. You're like, I don't know what else is left. Like, this is a really nice reference. Having it there, you can see, okay, so I still have a couple of these left in my deck. I should be able to get my guy to the temple.
I feel like the card game versus the base game of Karuba is still somewhat solitaire in that you are, still building your own map, right? We're not all building the same map. We all have the same cards, though, so it's trying to recreate Karuba in the solitaire aspect, but trying to fix it a little bit by the cards we pick mattering based on what somebody else picked kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm not so certain I love that aspect of it. I understand that adding we put them down and flip them up and whoever has the lowest combination has to get rid of them or has to get rid of one. I get that is kind of necessary in there because otherwise it would just be like draw and play and draw and play and draw and play.
You would always have all of the cards at your disposal. That burning one almost replicates burning to move in a way, because playing those low cards are the more powerful cards. They're the ones that help you connect. They're the ones that give you the gems. All the ones with like the gold are, it's the 1 and the 4. And like those are like the most powerful cards. The 1 having a gold and a crosshairs. You can have all 4 of your guys cross by there. All 4 of them pick up the gold for 2 points. So it has to come at some sort of like cost of like, it's so powerful. If I play 2 of my powerful cards, I'm going to have to discard one of them.
I do think though that so I get that, the idea of like, I'm going to play my 1, but I'm going to play it with a 16, and that still could be the lowest based on what everybody, I get the idea that the cards do kind of have a cost. Like the 1 is really powerful, but you might not get to play it. Mm-hmm. But you're kind of, there's a little bit more RNG in there than I would have liked. The idea that, I'm only picking 2 out of 3, so I can't mitigate that too much. Mm-hmm. And also, I'm just drawing randomly, so I could play my 1 and my 16. Again, I could play 17, that could still be the lowest. But there was nothing. Well, I guess you could see what everybody else has played thus far, but there's very little you can do to mitigate that, I felt.
Especially in the early rounds. Like, if you're just like, oh, well, I have 3 cards here. I have a 1, a 2, and the 16. You either play the 17 or you play the 1 and 2 and have a 3. You know you're going to have the lowest. You know you have to discard 1.
Yeah.
So you can go into it knowing you're going to discard something, or you go into it hoping you're not discarding, and then when you do have to discard, you're very disappointed. I had one turn where I played the 9 and the 13. I was like, oh, that's a solid number. Lowest set. I had to discard, so there was no way I could connect because that was both the adventure and the temple. And
so you just kind of screwed yourself over for purple, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was just, okay, I'm not scoring those 3 points. Let's move on.
I do think you said it, you're like, it's probably really hard to connect all of them, and that's probably true. There's probably only a couple perfect plays where all of them and I guess that there is probably a single perfect play of never having to burn something and having all of them
in that 4x4 grid and crossing by a bunch of gems. Like,
Yeah, there probably is a perfect play with this. Probably something you can never really pull off, but I bet you, I don't know, you tell me. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe we're wrong.
I think that Karuba, the card game, did a very good job of condensing Karuba into an even quicker game. Like, it says 15 minutes on the box, but once everybody if you've already played Karuba and you get the changes that have been made, or if you've just played this a couple times, you can play it in like 5 minutes because you're playing 2 cards at a time. That's, let me do the math, 8 rounds of putting down cards. So it's going to be,
Yeah.
8 rounds of place 2, flip them over, I burn one, okay, let me think about where to place it. You've probably already had a decision made by picking them. So, like, it's a quick game. I like it for that. I like that it supports 6 players out of the box as a really quick filler game. I kind of do like the base game Karuba a little better. It's more puzzly, but I feel like the points are closer in this game. This is a very tight game. Like, it always comes down to, like, who picked up the most gems, because either one person connects all 4 of them and they win, or, like, everybody's connecting 3 of their temples. Like, it's kind of hard to pull off all 4 temples. It can be done, especially if you just, like, put them right next to each other. You're just going to score 12 points, though. Like, that's not the greatest score. You want to pass by some gems and pick them up along the way. If you like Karuba and you're looking for something similar and quick, if you like just filler games that have, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like War. Like, you're like, okay, let's flip our cards, but, like, you have a little more information going into it. So, I don't know, maybe it's like poker. You're just like, let's see who has the best hand, I don't know. It's fun, though.
I agree with Aaron on a couple of aspects. One, I do think the extremely quick playtime and the goes up to 6 in the box, that is its biggest strength. That's definitely what it has going for it. It's super quick, like you said, especially if you've played it a couple of times. It can be a really easy filler game that you play while you're waiting for your food or you're in an airport or whatever. It's also travel size. Like, I mean, this is nice, but in theory you could just have the deck of square cards if you wanted to. And, up to 6 players. Cool, light little, 10-minute party game. I do think the original Karuba is better, but I think probably by a bigger margin than you. I thought this was just all right. Like, I would definitely play it again. It's not like a bad game, but I'm totally okay not owning it. And I guess I would be okay if I didn't play it again. I just think Karuba is so good, and it's also, Karuba's really quick. Like, this, it's not 5 minutes. Sure, it's not a filler game. It's not travel size, but Karuba is so quick that, like, I wasn't really asking for a quicker version. So at the end of the day, this one, I could take it or leave it. I don't know.
It is going to save you on setup and cleanup time, too, because this is cleanup. Just put it back in the box. You're done. You're ready to go. Like,
that's true.
It's just this little deck of cards versus, like, trying to put all of everybody's tokens back together and set up at the beginning and, like, 1, 2, 3,
lining all
4.
this up. That
true. Takes a little bit of time.
That's true.
But
so the gameplay of Karuba is quick, but the setup time is longer. So yeah, I guess if you wanted a travel size Karuba, here you go. Mm-hmm. If that's not a need that you have, I still think I would choose Karuba over this if we weren't traveling.
But this one is also
that didn't take forever.
Game night approved.
Well, there you have it, nerds. Those are our thoughts on Karuba the card game. If that did sound interesting to you, I guess maybe if you tend to agree with Aaron more than you agree with me, we're going to have a purchase link to this game in the description box down below. Go grab yourself a copy.
Either way, you should subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored. Because you're still trying to solve this puzzle of, can I get this
adventure?
Yeah.